time. So we are already live, sir.
Okay. Good morning, viewers at home, brothers and sisters all across the world. This is the Benin Empire Advancement League, and we are having a broadcast this morning. And joining me live is the president of and the founder of the Benin Empire Advancement League, Mr. Bello. Good morning, Mr. President.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone. You are welcome to the Benin Empire Advancement League, the home of all the Benins worldwide. So thank you, sir.
Well, thank you. My name is Joseph Osemudiame Mawuli Orupe, and I am Vice President of the Benin Empire Advancement League. Mr. President, it's been a while we've had, broadcast because we had to, focus on other personal things. And again, because of the electionary period, there's been
Yeah.
some sort of break. So today we will be discussing several issues. One of them is, you know, politics, the economics, the blueprint of Edo State. But every of our topic today is going to be captured under one heading, which is making the Edo people our number one priority, making the Edo State our number one priority. So the election has come and gone, and we've had winners, we've had losers, but irrespective of the outcome, every winner and every loser is a Benin, and we are looking forward to having an Edo State House of Assembly, which we've not had for almost 2 years. We're looking forward to having a functional Edo State House of Assembly at the moment. So, Mr. President, based on the present realities, based on the election that took place, and the results so far, the PDP seem to have a slim majority in the House. I think we have one Labour Party elected member, and we have about 10 or 11 others from the APC. However, for me, I think the priority of those people is to put Edo first and do things that would foster unity and bring development by, coming up with laws that can benefit the people, laws that can shape, positively shape, the progress of the Edo people. What do you think we should be looking at based on the new realities we find in Edo State today, as regards to the elections that took place?
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Let me just start from the beginning to remind our politicians or political elite that our people do go to the polls to vote in people, to represent them, to make sure they are number one priority uh, in focus of these politicians. And in the past few years, we have seen this in the back being put at the background and just put it at maybe very, very far away from the reality as it's supposed to be. Uh, we have seen in the past few years that our people were just left behind, and this shouldn't be uh, the be let me say shouldn't be as of the moment the problem. This political elite that was just elected recently, they are coming into power, and then we need to give them a message. Apart from the mandate we are giving them, we need to give them a message which they need to follow. The mass who voted for these people voted for them, that they should represent them in a good manner, not the one we have been having the past few years. These people should put our people in focus. The development of Edo State should be number one. bringing Edo State first should be their first priority. You know, it's not just coming there to sit down in the House of Assembly and they making laws that favor maybe international companies or favor their fellow politicians. They should always think about our people first, because these are the people who gave them this power to be in that office. Without these people, none of them will be in that office. I believe some of them have started to understand little by little the meaning of the power of the people. Because when you go into the past election, the presidential election, we saw something in Edo State we have never seen before. We saw Labour Party rise to almost first. Then we saw the ruling party decline and followed by the opposition parties. So in the House of Assembly election, we also saw the difference between the presidential election and House of Assembly election we have it. So we can see how the people think. You know, the people are always following you. If you do good, they will serve you good result. If you do bad, they will serve you bad result. And the priority of these people should be that our people come first. Everything, every differences we are having should be irrelevant. Should be irrelevant, because without coming together, without unity, we cannot really move Edo State forward. No matter the percentage of vote you have, even though you have the majority or you have maybe 90% of the vote, it doesn't really matter, because without the people, you cannot move on. Without the opposition, you cannot also move on. There must be a compromise by all parties, that no matter what happens, no matter the difference, Edo people should be priority number one. And also, our tradition is also very, very important. Our traditional rulers, those people, the traditional rulers at the top, because we cannot do without politics. We all know politicians have been given power. Even some of our traditional rulers, they vote also for their own candidates. You know, but without tradition and politics coming together to form a single front, I think it's going to be very, very difficult for us. And that is why it's so important at this stage, at the beginning, to lay a strong foundation that we can really build on. You know, the governor tenure is almost going to an end, because we are going to be having an election next year. And we should put this in focus, how to bring together tradition and politics for them to function alongside each other, you know, not just against each other, but coming together close to assess the whole issue that we are having at this moment. And so many reforms, so many laws should be done in favor of the people, not against the people. Because we have to learn this. We are working for the people. We are being employed by the people as a politician. And this is what we need to know first before taking any decision. Is this decision against my people? If it is against my people or the will of our people, we shouldn't take that as a decision. So thank you, sir. That is just it for now, and I will continue later.
Thank you for your contribution, Mr. President. If I may just add a couple of things, I think the expectation we have for the new members of the Edo State House of Assembly should be minimized. That, if I may use that word, we should not have too much of an expectation, because we must first understand that a lot of them are getting in there for the first time, and so it's going to take a while for them to really settle down and begin to understand the business of legislating, and enactment or creation of laws for the executive arm of government. One of the things that I also think the Edo State House of Assembly members should always do is to seek the opinion of those who they represent, at the constituency levels and all that, because they are there to make laws, not just to make laws, but to also lobby for developmental projects, for their constituencies. I've always believed Edo State can actually lead the way when it comes to politics of decency. We've seen that, to a certain level so far. We've seen that the people actually vote not based on party lines. They vote you when they think there's a need for them to vote for you. And I think the governor, Governor Baseki himself, should have realized this by now, that irrespective of the misgivings the Benins have for him, whether Edo or Esans, because if we look at it, we'll find out that every part of, the Benin makeup, whether you're Edo, whether you are Esan, whether you are Ibanke or Ika or whatever, every part of the Benin makeup has reservations, have one complaint or the other, have one grievance or the other against the governor of the state. We've had the issue of, till now, there's been no commissioner. Okay, we have an Edo State House of Assembly now. Can we have the commissioners? Can we have people who can hit the ground running? Can we have, because I expect by now, the governor should have his list of commissioners. I expect by now, immediately the house is inaugurated, the list of commissioners should be tendered, at the house, so that we can have the commissioners, start work. I also expect that the governor should mentor youth. I mean, at his level, the commissioners should be a mix of experience and intelligence. So you have probably you have youths who are quite intelligent, quite knowledgeable in certain things. That you back them up with experience. The older people who have the experience in governance. So that you can be able to mentor them and take them through the process and prepare them for the future. Because the elections are just about a year from now, and there's really nothing much the Governor Baseki-led government can actually do. But one of the things that I think the Governor Baseki-led government can do is preparing the youth, for a smooth transition. This generational transition thing we've been talking about, preparing the youth. And how do you prepare the youth? You put them in a position where they can be mentored, because not a lot of them have the experience of being in government. A lot of them are quite knowledgeable, maybe in field of information technology, banking and finance, architecture, and all these things. So you find out that they are all knowledgeable, but when it comes to bringing their knowledge to the government, they might not have that experience. So we want to see that mentorship. We want to see it in full force. And I also think legacy projects by this government should actually be completed, because I don't want the situation where we would always have a government start something, another government comes and refuses to complete it and start its own project. Then you find too many abandoned projects in Edo State. It's happening all across Nigeria. So I feel that Governor Obaseki should not take too many projects. Handle the little you can handle and complete them. The Stella Obasanjo Hospital, make sure it's completed. The Benin Mall, make sure it's completed. The Benin Auto Park, make sure it's completed. College of Education, make sure it's completed. Then every road that has started, complete all those projects before you even start something else. Because for me, those are legacy projects. Those are things people will remember you for. You understand? That's just my opinion. So that when the next governor comes, if there is a blueprint, because I believe by now the Edo State government should have a blueprint, you know, and that is one thing that is lacking in Edo State. Every governor comes and wants to do his own thing. There is no blueprint, you know. I believe we should have a blueprint. Every other thing, any government will be built on hospitality, real estate, the banking sector, maybe creating Silicon Valley, and all sort of things. We must have a blueprint, you know, so that any governor that comes would stick to the blueprint. Failure to have a blueprint, when Governor Obaseki leaves office, the next governor that will come with ideas, and every progress that has been made in the last 8 years will go down the drain. We've seen it before, and we don't want to see it again. So I am thinking that one of the things we as Edos or Benin should be concerned about right now is a blueprint, a developmental blueprint, a 20 years plan. We should have a short-term plan, a mid-term plan, and a long-term plan. How do we want to see Edo State develop in the next 5 years? How do we want to see Edo State develop in the next 10 years? What is Edo State be like in the next 30 years? You know, by now we should of every Benin person. You know, these are things that I am expecting the governor as a technocrat to have done, because he's done well in private life. And we also want to see that word of experience, you know, the things he has achieved in private life. We want to see him bring it into the public space, governance in Edo State. And one of the things I think Obaseki can bequeath Edo State is a blueprint, a developmental blueprint, some sort of master plan. Let all the political actors in the state come together. Let all the traditional actors in the state come together. Let all the professionals, whether the surveyors, the architects, the doctors, the nursing council, the pharmaceutical council, the real estate guys, the arts, hospitality, bring all those people together. Let us sit down on one table and say, come, this is Edo State. This is our home. How do you guys think we can make Edo State the most developed state in the whole of Nigeria? Let people come up with their ideas. Then you set up a team. And with this team, you can come up with a master plan, a blueprint. Okay, this is where we want to have a recreational center in Edo State. These are where we want to have certain teaching hospitals in Edo State. These are the kinds of roads we want to have in Edo State. These are where we want to have our mass housing units in Edo State. You see, let that blueprint be there. Okay, we want to make sure we reduce the level of carbon monoxide in our environment. And how do we want to do this? Okay, let us go with electric trams. For instance, if we cannot afford the trains, let us have trams. Okay, this can be the routes where the trams go. You know, so every governor that is coming in knows this. And I think if we can have a blueprint within the next 10 to 20 years, no Benin man would have a business, you know, running up and down. Because we've been running up and down for the past 40, 50 years. Yes. And I think we should be tired running to Europe and running to Lagos and running to everywhere we are running to. You know, everybody's running away. And the more we run, the more there's a transfer of knowledge. We are running away with our knowledge, and we are making good use of our knowledge in other places, depriving our home state of this, you know, hard sought knowledge. You know, so I think the president and the governor Godwin Obaseki should finish his projects, not take more projects because he doesn't have the time, but concentrate on, you know, that he would, you know, bequeath the people of Edo State, you know, so that the future of Edo State, we can say that the future of Edo State as a state is safe. So that's my own contribution, Mr. President. The next issue I wanted us to talk about, we're discussing, but this time probably the politics of 2024. There's been the talk of, and there's the bickering going on social media, and people say, okay, the essence are saying no, but should not be given an opportunity to govern, it should come and take it, and there's the issue of, oh, you've always been, you supported the APC this time, you didn't support PDP and all that, so this whole unhealthy, as far as I'm concerned, it's an unhealthy debate. This whole unhealthy debate has been going on, and I want us to see how we can best address this issue for the sake of the intelligent minds amongst us. What is your take, Mr. President, on this issue?
Once again, thank you very much for this question. I would like to say this, but I know many people will hate me if I say this. Politics shouldn't have anything to do with tribe. Shouldn't have anything to do with ethnicity. Politics should have something to do with your merit, what you have achieved. Because immediately we bring in tribalism or tribes into our politics, then we will be failing woefully.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because if Isama can do the job very good, and we all know he can do that job, why not vote for him? If Roboma comes up today and we know exactly he can do this job, let us vote for him. But for us to just capitalize on certain ethnic group of people, that they are now the next person to take over, I think that is very, very wrong from my own side. Looking at the whole future, looking at the future of our children, look at the future of the Edo people. We saw this. We were doing this before. The time of Igbenedion and others. They were capitalized on ethnic Edo and others. But all of them failed. They failed woefully. So I think we should learn from the past to understand what is going on. For my own opinion, the best should have the best position. But the best doesn't really mean you will perform best, So we should be very, very careful the way we choose our leaders, It's not the person who talk best can really achieve something, But there are some silent candidates we should also look at. Some are good leaders, we know that. Because during the independence of Nigeria, they fought for our independence. If you remember our great Chief Attorney Nahoro,
Yes.
He fought irrespective of our ethnics. He stand there as a Nigerian. We should take example of that. Not just putting. I think it would be silly to say, okay, it is not the turn of my ethnic group, just as Igbos are saying in Nigeria. But don't forget, we also have some minorities in Edo State who has lesser voice. We should also think about them. How would they feel when we start sharing power for ourselves? Say, okay, this time it's Edo turn, tomorrow is Isan, next tomorrow is Owan, Itako, and other. What about the other tribes? Like in the Kas, who are also with us, the Robos, the Jaws, and so many of them. How would they feel? They are also our people. They are also human beings. I think we should play a politics of who is the best, who is to rule, not just a politics of ethnics. Because the time you brought in ethnics into politics, they will be failing. We will be failing because we will continue to hate ourselves. Then we will be coming up to say, oh, is just developing its own side. You know, it's doing nothing for our side. You know, then we will originate such a hatred for ourselves, which doesn't even warrant it. So I believe we should focus on the best thing for our people. Look for the best candidate. Look for the who is made for that job to do that job perfectly. Because if you look at Edo State today, we are just far behind other states when it comes to development. It doesn't have really something to do with Obaseki, you know, or Oshomole or other people who ruled Edo State before. But it depends on us as a people, because this tribalism need to stop. The tribalism doesn't have anything to do with politics. You know? So we must stand up against tribalism in our politics. Otherwise, we won't survive. It's going to be difficult for us. We are going to be like as Nigeria is today. When people are saying Igbo is the Igbo tongue, then the next one we say is Hausa tongue, the next one we say is Yoruba tongue. You know, we can't afford that, because we are already far behind. As I said before, we don't have anything. We don't have good roads. We don't have seaport. We don't have airport. With tribalism, we cannot afford that. You know, so we have to come together. Anything that is coming to Edo State is for the good of Edo State, not for the good of Edo people, or the good of Asian people, or Yoruba people, or Ika people, or Ijaw people, or so many of them. You know, we have to see ourselves first as Edos, from Edo State. We are from Edo State. We are fighting for our state, not just only my village. There are people existing outside my village also, who are also human beings. See everybody first as a human being, because we all are born as human beings before we are being brought into families, then into our tribes. So we should remember that. Coming out today to say, oh, I'm an Edo person, I have the priority to rule. That is nonsense. Or coming out today to say I'm Esan, I have the priority. That is nonsense. I believe the best candidate should win the election. Because when you come to ethnics, making decision upon your ethnics, I think that's number one key for division. Because you are dividing people. You know, it's like when you say, okay, the richer class should always have power. You know, so what about the lower class? What about the middle class? You know, so we should reason very well. You know, because for me, I will vote any candidate I know is perfect for that job if I'm allowed to vote. You know, no matter the background of his ethnicity. So thank you. That is just the message I have for our people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. If I'm going to add to what you say, I want us to go back to our history. If we look at those who have performed, like Mr. Bemudia, you know, just a few. But after that, we've had, and this several, you know, since 1999, it's almost 24 years. We still cannot point out one developmental project in Edo State. And I think this is where the Edo people, the Benin people, you know, we all need to sit down, sit back, and do some sort of self-assessment of how we ourselves choose our leaders. Are we choosing leaders based on tribe, or we are choosing leaders based on competence? Exactly. I would rather us choose leaders based on competence rather than based on tribe. The reason why I say this is because when a leader's policy is bad, it does not immune his tribesman. Everybody will bear the consequences of that bad policy, whether you are his tribesman or not. When a leader is successful and comes about, doing things that brings development in the state, he's not going to do it for his tribesmen alone.
Never.
It is going to benefit his tribesmen and those who are not his tribesmen. And I've always told for instance, I'm from Asa. I always tell my Asa brothers who are championing the Asa agenda, everybody has a right to aspire to be whatever you want to be. But that right cannot, and they need to understand that that right cannot be achieved based on tribal politics. Because no Edo man can become governor of Edo State without votes from Esa, Esako, Ijos, the bankers, the cast, or whatever.
Exactly.
No Esa man today can become governor without the votes from every other tribe that make up Edo State today. And that's where I want my Esa brothers with the Esa agenda whole thing to tread cautiously. They are missing it. When they make it all about tribe, they are missing it. What I expected them to have done was to say, we are supporting this person, not based on tribe, but based on competence, based on track record, based on his ability to deliver. Then sell that person, whether he's Esa, whether he's Ijo, whether he's Eka, sell that person to the general population. That is how to play politics. That is how to win elections. You don't go and sit down in your corner and be shouting Esa agenda. First and foremost, all the people who vote in Edo South are not Edos. A lot of them are Esas. Because I can confidently say we have nothing less than 1 million Esas living in Benin City or spread across Edo South. So are we now saying that all those people should just vote an Esa man? No. Because when the policies come tomorrow, they are going to feel it, whether they are Esa, Edo, or whatever. And this is a wake-up call. This idea of always keeping quiet is hurting Edo State so much. The intellectuals need to start coming up and start speaking and begin to proffer solutions to so many of the problems we have in Edo State. They need to come and start offering leadership, offering ideas to the minds of the people. When you begin to leave these things in the hands of politicians, it becomes so dangerous. The clergymen, the traditional religious class should begin to speak. We need them to begin to offer some form of, it's not about tribe, it's about competence. Exactly. We need them to begin to teach the people how to reason politically, how to win politically, how to foster unity amongst the people. Because this card that is being played by all the tribes, it's going to work against the state at the end of the day. Because any governor that comes is going to mess up because he believes his tribe is backing him. And so his tribe would always defend him. And the tribe too would always want to defend, the governor because they actually worked for him. And they would want to justify why they worked for him. So even if he's doing anything wrong, they will defend him. You understand? And that is where it gets dangerous. That's where psychophancy comes in. And when you have a politics that is run by sycophants, there won't be any developmental project in the state. So I want to use this opportunity to I'm going to talk to my Esa brothers, because I have seen so much of the Esa agenda thing flying up and down, and for me, it's laughable. I don't think that's the way to do politics. I don't think you can go up and down insulting everybody and expect people to back you. That's not how to do things. You build bridges. You talk to people, not at people. It's you don't make it you don't compel people to do your bidding. You persuade people to do your bidding. That's how elections are won. In the time past, we have realized that, for instance, in PDP, when there's an opportunity for people to come and pick gubernatorial tickets, you find the ASAs producing 2, 3, 4. Now maybe the Edo South brings 1 or 2 persons. You ASAs are already splitting your votes among yourself. Then you turn around and blame people for not voting for you. That's not how to play politics. That's not how to play politics. There has never been a time an Edo man wants to be governor and he tells you that it's a must. You have to vote an Edo man. There's never been a time.
No.
What they actually do is they reach out to the political blocs and form alliances. And the essence must begin to understand that you need to form alliance if you want to get power. But you see, that's not even the most important thing. The most important thing is the question, why do you want power?
Yes, exactly.
I want power, but for what purpose? Is this so that just an Esa man can be governor, and it can be in the history of Edo State that an Esa man, the Esas produced governor? Or is it that you want a governor from Esa because he is competent? Now, if you think you have an Esa man who is competent, don't sell his tribe. Sell his competency. Sell his capabilities. Sell the knowledge. Sell his expertise. Sell his character. That is what you ought to be selling, not his tribe. Because as an Esa man, I'm not going to vote someone who is my tribesman over a competent person, over a person who has a better character, who has a better track record. I'm not going to do that because I understand the implications. And that is why I think our people should tread carefully. Elections are not about tribe. It's about delivering quality policies for the betterment of the general populace, of the people, of a state.
Exactly, perfectly said.
And that is what we should focus on. And stop getting ourselves distracted, with this whole tribes thing. I want to see an ESA agenda that is based on competence. So for instance, I want to see an ESA agenda that would say, okay, the ESAs are going to vote an Ikaman because the Ikaman is competent. Because of all the the politicians and all the political parties and all the aspirants or the candidates they have produced, we have seen that this Ikaman or this Ijoman or this Igbankeman is competent. And the agenda of the ESA man is that we are going to back competence. Or the agenda of the ESA man is that we are going to back character. Or the agenda of the ESA man, the ESA agenda is that we are going to back this person based on the fact that the conviction that we have that he will deliver. That is what I should see, Mr. President.
Thank you.
For me, that's just
let me just add a little bit to what you said, because you said it all. Politics is not about religion. It's not about ethnicity. And let me give a sound warning to some of our Esan brothers. I know Esan people as correct people you can work with, people with respect. But in the social media nowadays, when you go to some Esan page and to some Edo page, because I don't want to leave everything for Esan alone, that they are the only people who are responsible for all this. You see the hatred, Now, you as an Esa person, you said you want your own son to be a candidate or to govern Edo State, and you are insulting the Edo people. You are doing everything possible to distort the Edo history, Benin history. You know, what do you expect from the Edo people if they say no tomorrow, if they don't vote you or they vote your candidate you are putting forward? I think the Asian people should look for alternatives to these people, because these people, they are not bringing Islam anywhere. They are not bringing Islam forward. They are destroying the chance of Islam be a governor of Edo State, even though that person has a merit, because the destruction is already going on. These people, they are not working for Islam, but they are working against Islam people. I think the Islam people should separate themselves from these people. Because we know we all can influence people to believe what they don't want to believe on. It's just like so many religions, so many cultures and all that, you know. But when you put something into people's brain, it's very, very difficult to remove. I'm pleading with my Asian people. Always come forward with respect. I, as an Edo person, I always come forward with respect to other tribes. No matter how small that tribe is, the first lesson you learn at home is to respect everybody. Whether it's an ant in your house, it's to give him a respect. Not just going out to do things that is unnecessary. Because there are things that is really going on today. There's a social media war going on between some certain part of Isan and Edo. We can see that. Nobody can ignore that. But I promise you, the Isan people I know, they are not part of that. And the Edo people I know, they are not part of that. Those people doing that, they know themselves. And we should separate ourselves from those people. We should have a demarcation line for such people. So if Isan is qualified to be the president of Nigeria, I will vote for him. If Isan person is qualified to be the governor of Edo State, I will vote for him. If some person is qualified to be the local government chairman of my local government, I will vote for him. You know, it shouldn't be a war in social media. You know? So that is just my advice for some our Asian and Edo people.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, since you raised this issue, I also want to address some of it. I think my Asian brothers and sisters are making a very big mistake to be led by people who are uncultured, uncouth, people who lack manner, you know, and people who come to the public space to talk like touts and talks and tribal warlords. I think my Asian brothers and sisters are making a very huge mistake to allow themselves to be led by these unintelligent people. First and foremost, the history is clear. No matter how all these activists try to distort history, the history is clear. We are of the same roots, same ancestor, same Paidu. It doesn't matter whether some migrated from Benin, migrated before they migrated from Benin, or migrated after another set migrated from Benin. The most important thing is that we have the same source. It doesn't matter. This petty agenda of wanting to distort history, it's only carried out by people who feel inferior. I don't feel inferior. When I'm dealing with an Edo man, I don't feel inferior because I do not feel that the Edo man is superior to me. I don't feel that way as an Esa man. It is those who feel inferior that could buy into all these agendas. And I think my Esa brothers and sisters should begin to call those people to order and begin to make other people understand that they don't represent us. They don't represent us. They don't represent the interests of the Esa people. I do not see an Ikaman to be inferior to me.
Never.
I do not see someone from Onwa or Kwedo or Igbanke or Anijo to be inferior to me. We are all Benins. The fact that we share the same as ancestry is enough. So this idea of wanting to distort history, for me, doesn't even make sense. Because even if you trace the Oba, you find out that one way or the other, he has an Esan blood in him. The history is there.
Exactly.
So I don't even understand where this whole argument is coming from. And that is why I always say, what we do not want people, don't sit on social media, don't create groups and create pages just because you want to malign other tribes. And when the Esas are more intelligent than all this nonsense that I see on social media, and I can tell you this for a fact. There are people who are making distortions. There are people, some of them I know, some of them I know, some of them I used to be very close to. You know, some of these organizations, I used to be a part of them. See myself with my level of exposure to identify with such pettiness. And so I left this. And I want to also tell every well-meaning rights organizations, don't identify with them, because when you do, what you're actually doing is you are endorsing what they are doing. I have left at least two organizations, two ESA organizations, because I'm not going to sit down in an organization that maligns an Edo man. I'm not going to sit down in an organization that has an agenda that is going to destroy what is left of our unity as a people. I'm not going to do that. And I do not see the reason why any right-thinking ESA man will be in such organizations. These people are making money off my people.
Exactly.
By pitching my people against the Edo people. If really they have the interest of the essence at heart, they should spend more time thinking about developmental projects, talking about developmental projects. We should spend time calling for conferences in ESA land. Spend time creating products that we will sell to companies that can benefit ESA land. Not wasting time and energy and resources creating fights where there seem to be none. Because as far as I'm concerned, these fights do not exist. It only exists in the brains of these individuals.
Exactly.
And my ESA people should begin to understand. If you look at the history of Benin Kingdom, you cannot take out the influence of the ESAs.
No.
In fact, when the palace was burnt to the ground, and Oba Varime was arrested by the British, the ESAs continued with the rebellion.
Exactly.
The ESAs continued with the rebellion for at least 2 more years. So it is surprising to me to begin to hear people today try to want to paint the ESAs as a totally different ethnic group. We are not a totally different ethnic group. We are Benins. We are a tribe in the Benin ethnic group, just as an Ikwere is a tribe in the Benin ethnic group, just as an Eka is a tribe in the Benin ethnic group, just as an Urobo is a tribe in the Benin ethnic group, and the Shekiris and the Izons. So this attempt by half-baked historians who have petty agendas, hidden agendas, to exploit and extort my people must stop. And the only way it can stop is when ESAs begin to come out and tell these characters that enough is enough. Enough is enough. We've had enough of all this nonsense. That is why ESA land is not developing. Because we spend time on so many things that don't make sense. We don't spend time with how okay, nobody has ever come up to say, okay, I have an idea. This is what we should do to encourage investment. Nobody, none of them. None of them has ever said, okay, I think if we do this, we can encourage real estate companies to come to ESA land and let's build mass housing. None of them has ever done that. None of them has thought of, okay, how can we have an ESA mall or a recreational center in ESA land that can generate revenue for the local governments in ESA. None of them has ever done that. None of them has ever sat down to say, okay, how can we create scholarship funds so that we can be able to support the most intelligent amongst us who do not have the means to further their education. None of them has ever done that. But they spend time fighting Edos, create enemies where there is none. And for me, it's disgusting. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Because these people seem not to understand the sacrifices that our fathers have made for the Midwestern region, for Benin, and now Edo.
Yes.
They seem to forget the sacrifices our fathers as Essence have made. And it's beginning to become an embarrassment.
Yes, exactly, sir.
So I want to tell the right thinking Essence to disassociate themselves from all these people, because they do not have the interest of an average Essa man at heart. They don't. Because anybody who has your interest at heart would spend time on things that benefit you.
Exactly.
That is the reality. And that is how we should think. We should begin to think as one people. Are we saying as Essence today that if an Edo man comes to Essence land today and says, I want land, I want to build a big mall, a mall that would employ Essence people, will say, no, it's Edo, get out from here. Is that what we are saying? Or if an Edo man comes tomorrow and say, I want to build an Ivy League university in Essence land, a university that would better the lives of Essence people, you will say, no, get out, you are an Edo man, we don't want you here. Is that what we are saying? I mean, we should stop thinking like uneducated literates and start using our brains. And Essence should not be led by these kinds of characters, because we are intelligent people.
Exactly.
History has it that we are intelligent people. All around the world, when you go all around the world, when you look at people who are setting records, a lot of them are Essence.
Exactly, sir.
So we should not allow people who do not have a track record, who have questionable characters, to begin to lead our people, because they will lead our people astray. And that is what they are doing. But Mr. President, let's leave it at that. Another time, we would always address this issue. Hopefully, by the special grace of God, maybe sometime this year, when we are going to have our conference in Benin,
yes,
we'll be able to sit down in the conference and address this whole issue.
Yes, exactly,
so that everybody will know their smoothness level. Because I'm not going to sit down and go and be fighting an Edo man who has not offended me in any way. Or I will not say because I'm an Essa man, I will suppress the aspiration of an Izon or an Ika man or an Ibanke man. I'm not going to do that. They are my brothers. They are my brothers. We might not belong to the same tribe, but we have the same ancestors. Our great-great-great-grandfathers are the same. Same.
Let me just use one example. Orioma local government area,
Yeah.
Many people will be thinking Orioma local government area is made up of Edo people. That is not correct, sir. Orioma local government area is made up of Iru, which are Ika speaking people, Igbanke, Ika speaking people.
Yeah.
Then you see we have former Owa, now known as Ewoba Nosa.
Yeah.
I can tell you, half of these people, they are speaking Owa language, which also have a resemblance with the Ika speaking,
Yeah.
And if you go further, you will see so many different ethnics,
tribes.
And no one will come up today to say, oh, this one is from Iguenza, this one is from Igbanke, this one is from Iru, or this one is from Owa. They shouldn't vote for him. No. For what reason? I think people should start coming up, with those old ideas. They should start doing away with those old ideas. I call it old ideas because
But
Those
Mr.
people,
President, if you look at our history, it's actually not old ideas, because these things didn't even exist in the days of our ancestors. Because if it existed in the days of our ancestors would not be fighting side by side with the Edo man to preserve the Benin Kingdom.
exactly,
If
sir.
it existed in the days of our ancestors would not be fighting side by side with the Benin man, to expand the Benin Kingdom, with the Edo man to expand the Benin Kingdom. Our ancestors actually saw themselves as Benins. Our ancestors saw
Exactly,
themselves as descendants of Paidu.
exactly, sir.
This thing
Thank
that is
you.
happening now just started happening of recent.
Yes,
Because when Pa Antonio Nahoro was fighting for when he joined our late father, Oba Akezwa, and the rest of them to get Midwestern region, he didn't fight as an Esa man.
no,
He fought as a Benin man. When we had
exactly,
a Bendel state, they didn't fight as Edos, as Esas, as
exactly.
whatever. They fought as Bendelites. And that was why when they were building Bendel State at that time, the developmental project stretched from current Benin City to parts of Esa to even Wari,
Yes, even more than
because we
beyond,
saw ourselves beyond, because we saw ourselves as one people,
exactly.
you know. But the creation of more states, the more the states are created, the more they divide us. And our people
Yeah,
cannot understand that our oneness transcends the borders, the artificial borders created by the
exactly,
political class. We need to begin to understand these things, that the borders that are the state borders does not stop us from being one people.
you know,
It is just mainly for political purpose, political administration.
you know. So I did a broadcast, I think last year, when I was referring to Jamaica, that we should use Jamaica as an example uh, to build Edo State. You know, when Jamaica started fighting for their independence, they also saw themselves different because I think their ethnic origin is even far beyond that of Nigeria, because there are Ghanaians, there are people from Ivory Coast, there are people from, there are Igbos, there are Yorubas, there are Benis, you know.
Yes,
So they find a common ground to say, oh, if we start dividing ourselves again, we cannot achieve anything. We cannot even achieve the independence we are fighting for. They come down, sit down at one table to form a common alliance. But today, they call all of them Jamaicans.
exactly.
They call themselves Jamaicans. Even the white people living there, they are very proud to be Jamaicans. You know, so this is what we should be looking at. How can we be proud of ourselves, proud of our neighbor? You know, because they achieve something, not because they degenerate the other people. You know, this is what we have to be thinking of. How to move each other forward. Okay, today, Governor Basaki is fighting for the seaport, fighting for the international airport. You know, but I can see some obstacles that he is facing because of ethnicity. You know, people will
Exactly.
just go there and say, "This is my land. This is Isan land. This is Isako land. This is Ogon land. You don't need to build international airport there." Forgotten. The international airport is not going to serve you alone. It's going to serve the whole Edo nation, whether you are
Exactly.
Ika or Robo or Isan or another. You know, likewise the seaport. This would have been a huge development for the Edo people, or for the whole tribes living in Edo State. Because when they are going to employ you, they are not going to ask you whether you are Edo or Isan or Robo or something like that. You know. So who owns the port?
Exactly.
You don't ask. So this is what we should be thinking of. Where should the international airport base? How can we work together to make sure we have the license for the international airport? Can we work together to have investors for the international airport or the seaport? This is what we should be thinking about, because any development that comes to Edo State will make Edo State great. It won't
Exactly.
differentiate between Edo, Isan, Urobo, Ika, or Isoko, or so many other people. Nobody want to hear that. You know? Okay, look at Lagos today. We are saying Lagos is developing. You know, every leader that come to power, always think about Lagos. Because when Lagos is booming, it's booming for the Yoruba people. Although Lagos does not belong to the Yoruba people, but people have in their head, because Lagos is almost at the middle of the Yoruba sector. Let me put it that way.
In fact, Mr. President, you see, I always actually want to correct my Yoruba brothers. Lagos is an island. They should first understand that. It's not part of the Southwest. It's an island that is adjacent to the Southwest.
Yes.
This idea of people wanting to say, okay, because it's a part of the Southwest, it's not. It's adjacent to the Southwest. It's an island. Yeah. And the Edo man has never contested mainland. We've never contested mainland. We know where Eko is Eko. Yes. We know the history of where we call Eko. We know the history of where the British called Lagos. We know the history of the part of Lagos of today that was under the Western region, the Western regional government. We have never contested those places. But this idea of people wanting to distort history, well, that's a topic for another day. Yes, because you see, the thing is, we have brought this upon ourselves.
Yes.
We have brought this upon ourselves because we are not united. We are not united enough. We have allowed people to say we are a minority when we know, in fact, historically, we are not.
We are not.
Because the Yorubas, you see, you have the Jebus, you have the Egbas, you have all sorts of people, all sorts of tribes in Yoruba land. But they come together and say we are an ethnic group. But when it comes to the Benin, they say, no, you are an ethnic minority. Meanwhile, the Esa man, the Eka man, the Kwere man, the Izo man, the Urobo man, the Ishakiri, and the rest of them, the Eves, are from the same ancestors. Exactly. Is that not what should form the basis of ethnicity? Because we are of the same roots? But you see, when they say we are ethnic minority, we accept it. So they divide, they say the Esa is an ethnic group, the Edo is an ethnic group. It is not true. The Esa is a tribe in Benin, who is an ethnic group. Exactly. The Ika, the Ikweres are tribes in Benin.
Likewise, the Edos. They are also
tribes. The Edos are a tribe in Benin. There is no ethnic group called Edo. There is no ethnic group called Esa. And we need to give the people the right education.
Exactly, sir.
Because when they begin to divide us, their tribes are of Benin ancestry in today's Ekiti and Ondo. But because they don't even know their identity, they just keep forward march and say we are Yorubas. They are not Yorubas. But we have done these things to our own selves. Exactly. Because we spend time on things that are not of any use. It doesn't even make sense. We spend time on things that does not unify us. We spend time on things that does not make us progress. We are not thinking as progressive. So, you know, when some of us, when we begin to look back at the achievements of our ancestors and we look at what is happening today, we begin to ask, what is happening? There seems to be a total disconnect.
Yes.
Today we talk about the artifacts. The artifacts were things that was produced by our ancestors.
Exactly.
What are the things we have produced today?
Nothing, sir.
It clearly shows that we are failing. If we can be talking about things that have been produced by our ancestors 600, 800 years ago, and we cannot talk about the things that we have produced today as a people, then we are failures. And we must begin to see things the way it is.
Exactly.
Apart from a few musicians, maybe Rema and Davido, which is half Yoruba and half Edo, that is making us proud. And maybe a few actors and actresses that are out there. What else can we boast of?
Nothing.
What else? Meanwhile, the greatest aeronomics, is it aeronomics or whatever they call him, I think this man that built the drone for the United States of America, he is an Edo man. He's a Benin man. And there was a time we had this family. the most intelligent family in the UK.
In UK, yes.
Benin's celebrated. What have we got to show?
Nothing.
In the last 30 years? We are busy running around, rejoicing over artifacts, things that our great-grandfathers did. So if our great-grandfathers were thinking like us, would they be able to have those artifacts that we will be claiming today? And these are the questions we as sensible people should be asking ourselves. Where are the factories? Where are the Benin-owned banks, investment banks, in our soil, on our soil?
Nothing.
Where are they? Where are our own model universities, our own Ivy Leagues? Where are they? Apart from Benin Insurance that is trying to make us proud as a football club. But where are the rest? From Edo State, present Edo State, stretched down to Port Harcourt. Where is the achievement? Where are the achievements? Where are the modular refineries?
Nothing.
Where are the palm oil companies? Where are they? Meanwhile, we produce a lot of these things.
Yes.
But instead of us to come together and put our energy and resources together to create these things, to create jobs for our people so that our people will not be running through deserts and getting themselves killed, we are busy spending time on social media fighting.
Exactly.
It clearly shows that something is wrong with our brains. We are not fighting over, no, this is where I want the factory to be situated. No, this is where I want the hospital to be situated. No, this is where we want the recreational center to be situated. We are not fighting over those things. We are fighting over tribal superiority. It shows that we are of little minds. It shows that we are of little minds.
Yes.
And we need to sit down and start asking ourselves the right questions. Because I sure say nobody swear for us. Now we just choose to be acting foolishly. Nobody. Because put a Benin man, whether Esa, Edo, Ika, anywhere, put a Benin man anywhere with any other ethnic group, we come out with flying colors. Nobody is contesting that. But how come that these things do not reflect in our own communities as a people? It clearly shows that we have a problem. But Mr. President, this is an issue for another day. We'll trash this thing out.
We'll talk much about
and
that.
Hopefully by God's grace, we need to see Benins come up and begin to speak for the unity of our people, irrespective of the tribe. Hopefully by God's grace, it's a dream that I want to see come true, and I hope that I will live to see that dream come true. In our time, it will happen by the power of our ancestors and our God.
Thank you very much, sir. And I really enjoy. I hope in the next broadcast, maybe we'll be three if our secretary is Chance. He's also a very, very good educator when it comes to politics, when it comes to tradition, and when it comes to communal politics also. He's very, very good in that, and he's also well educated. He can tell you more about Benin City, about Isan, about Edo, about all tribes. He can also tell you some of his experience traveling around Edo State. Many other tribes who are not even related with the Benis. So the respect that they are giving to Benin. So before we go, I will still have a word to say about the National Assembly, the elected people. I'm going to plead with them, to play a grassroots politics, not an uproot politics.
Yeah.
Because we know our rural areas, they are dying. They are dying down. If you go there to some of our primary school today, you will lament. Water to drink. Most of the community don't have it. Not to talk about good roads. Because we always forgot that the food we eat in Benin City today, or in some of our big cities, they are always from these rural areas. If we want to make sure Edo, develop, we should also invest in our rural areas.
Exactly.
Because in Europe today, the people who built the cities, they are all of them are from the rural areas. Because without their food, there will not be big city. How do they say it? A hungry mind is an angry mind, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are hungry, you cannot think fast.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So we need these people. We shouldn't even communalize them in our thinking about development. We need to push this even in our to our traditional rulers, because the people who know our people more are the traditional rulers.
Exactly.
We need to do this because I believe this is a healthy form of system of government that can really give our people power, more privilege to feed themselves, to feed other people too. And a lot needs to be done educating our people, not just to be thinking about themselves alone, to also think about other people. That anything you do today, any decision you take today, is also going to affect another person. You know? We should be thinking about that. I think you can say more about that in the next broadcast. Your experience since you have been in Nigeria the past few months. You know? So
Yes, sir.
somebody's just write a question here. Uh,
Okay.
okay, actually, it's on a maybe if you look at into our chat, something there's a question, not actually a question, but a sort of advice and yeah, it's telling us that business and consultation is key to the future development. So I also believe that,
Exactly.
and that is why what I'm saying, all this rural development, we give power to the state government, you know, to develop our state. It's not just developing the cities. Because people like me, I don't, if I may say the truth, I'm from a village, which is not more than 30 houses. I prefer living in a village than living in a city. There are people who prefer living in the city than the village. And if we have all the amenities we need in the villages, I don't think people will be moving to the cities. Because
Exactly.
here, I don't like using Europe as an example for everything I'm doing. But when you go to the most remote village today, all of them have the same access as those people living in the city, apart from
Exactly.
transportation. You know, apart from transportation, that is where it's limited. But it's not that so limited that they can't afford it. You know. So if you look at the whole modern system they have in the city, they also have it in the village. The people will not ask you, why do you want me to go to the city? I have
Exactly.
everything here.
That is how it should be.
You know. So we should always not be thinking about the city, what I'm trying to say, and we should always go and play a grassroots politics, because the people you are ruling, they are also in the rural area and they are also in the cities. So thank you. That is my my play
Yes,
to the
I
main.
want to commend the contributor. I want to thank you for your message in our group, and it's very heartwarming to know that we have Benins who are willing to always come up with ideas. Yes, we need to talk. We need consultation. We need to consult one another. We need to keep talking. And the
Yeah,
essence of our broadcast, the essence of our organization is to create an avenue, a platform for every Benin, irrespective of tribe, to come together and
exactly.
talk. Because we need to talk. We can't be fighting. We need to talk. We need to consult. We need to rub minds. We need to come up with ideas, progressive ideas. And so I want to thank you for your contribution, and I also encourage other people to come forward, speak. We need to
Exactly.
know let's speak out. Let's air our opinions, and every opinion, I can guarantee that every opinion is respected in this place, as long as it's not insulting, as long as it's not degrading, as long as it's not an opinion that is from someone who sets out to malign the character of other people. Every opinion in on our platform is going to be respected, and everything you say, I can guarantee you, we have a back room. We do a lot of things at the back end. We look at these things, we get the feedbacks, we sit down, we talk about them, we deliberate on them, and we ask ourselves, okay, with these informations, what do we do? Where do we go from here? And I can assure you there's a lot of things we are doing, but we need intellectuals. We don't want the crowd. We ever since this organization has been set up, we have never set out to get a crowd. We that's why we always make sure we scrutinize anybody that comes into the organization. This is an organization for intellectuals.
Exactly, sir.
It's an organization for progressives. So if you know you are a progressive, you know you are an intellectual, you know you have something, a professional, you've got something, you've got an idea that can move the Benin people forward, please, our doors are open. Come and have these discussions with us. We have people. A lot of them are behind the scenes. They don't want to come out. We have people. We have great minds.
Exactly.
Sell your ideas to us. Let's have these discussions and let's take it up. Because at the end of the day, we have no other place. Europe is not our home.
Never.
It's not our home.
It's also known to everybody that tomorrow I may be in Nigeria. Nigeria is my home.
Exactly. You understand? So we need to do something for our people. We need to do something. We shouldn't say because we are abroad, we are comfortable, and we should neglect our people. Someday, we don't know. Someday, we don't know the future. But one thing we know from history is that something can upset the system, and everybody needs to migrate. So let us do things not because we want to just do things so that in case if tomorrow, let us do things because it's our responsibility. Because to whom much is given, much is expected. And so please, my people, intellectuals, professionals, come forward, come with your ideas, speak to us. We are open. I can say for a fact that this is one organization that is totally different from every other Pan-Bini organization because we don't follow the crowd. We don't work with emotions.
No.
We look at things critically before we take our position. And that is why you don't see us jumping up and down, fighting on social media. We don't do that because we have more important things to do. Anything that does not put food on the table of our people, we won't engage ourselves in it. Anything that does not work for the progress of our people, you won't find us there. And that is the thinking of a Benin man, a real Benin man. That's the thinking of a real Benin man. So please, our doors are open. Join us. Join us, sell your ideas to us, comment, be a part of what we are doing. In this platform, there is no Esa, no Edo, no Kwale, no Urobo. We are all Benis, and that is how we want it to be. Thank you for being a part of our broadcast. Hopefully, same time next week, Sunday, we'll be here, talk about other things that affect us as a people, and we will begin to bring solutions, practical solutions, from the known to the unknown, things that can solve our problem as a people. But next week, we'll come up with practical solutions so that our people can have an understanding of the things they can do, so that when you have an opportunity to be in a position to do something, you are armed with the right information. So hopefully next week, Sunday, same time, you can join us and be a part of what we are doing here. Mr. President.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for being with me, and thank you for your great contribution. So
thank you, sir, for having me.
I hope we come back next week, Haiti, and maybe we have more fans next week. Who knows? And I want it to be known to everybody. This organization is not just an ethnic organization. We are far more than that.
Yeah.
We always come to defend the Benin Empire history when we see some certain things that is not correct. We are not against any tribe. We are not against any any ethnic. We are not against Yoruba. We are not against Igbo. We are not against Hausa. We are not against Fulanis and others, because we know in one way or the other we all are related.
Exactly.
If possible, we all are from the same parents, from the same God. If you are a Christian, you know, and if you are, if you serve, if you are a Muslim, you also know that. Even our tradition recognizes that we all are from the same people. But
Yes.
the difference is how we interpret everything, you know. So thank you, and I want you to know also that racists always have a small brain. You know? They don't think further. So thank you very much, and God bless you all. Then see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.